We is.
We is too.
We is too. Ussens. Ussens. God, you're making me segue here in a good way. I like that. So yes, we do live in a wonderful world if we choose to see it. If we choose to see it that way. And if our eyes are truly, our physical eyes are governed by the divine eyes, where we see with our divine hearts, with our divine wisdom, our divine perception. And that takes work to be able to do that. I wasn't taught how to do that, growing up. That's not anything that I was given in my home. We just kind of saw the stuff of life, the stuff that hits the fan. And the focus was always on the stuff hitting the fan. And you made the best with it. You applied yourself. And most of us do fairly well at that, but depending on what kind of messages you get growing up, you may struggle with that more. And I think I do know that as I was able to change my perceptions about myself, then my perceptions of the world also changed. Also changed. I see and feel far less strife and conflict and division and separation than ever before. It's almost like now that I live in a different world than most people. Because if you listen to the news, and if you are on social media, and if you're paying attention to what a lot of people say, talking heads, the influencers, all these people who, there's tens of thousands, millions of people giving their opinions about what's happening in the world. You almost can't get away from it. Almost. And even when you're in the midst of it, if you're practiced and if you are spending time in the divine, like the little boy in the woods, if you pull yourself apart, then you can get practiced at hearing all the stuff and hearing about the stuff that hits the fan and the fact that there are a lot of people who think stuff's hitting the fan all the time. And you can hear that and still know that it's a wonderful world. And I wonder how many of us really can look in the mirror, who think about ourselves and say, I'm a wonderful creation. How many of us truly, truly do that? That I am a magnificent creation, that I am wonderful, that I am goodness, that I am good. That took me a whole lot more work. And I'm still working on it. 32 years later. But that's part of me thinking about my magnificence, is that I think that I can be youthful forever. That's part of the work that I do for me. Because everything that I learned about getting older wasn't pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty at all.
And we spend a lot of time affirming the ugliness of getting older. We do. Bodies falling apart. We take that as a natural course of life, and yet that's not true. I mean, it can be if that's what you want. We can fall apart and get decrepit and creaky and painful, if we want. If we want. And we can have all that, we can have that physical experience, but still know that we are youthful of mind and curious about life and grateful for life and eager to try new things, even if we have to crawl there or take ibuprofen before we do. And after. And after we do, and keep Ben Gay on hand. But we're still smiling about life, and we're still enjoying life, and we still want life. We still want life because we still have breath. Everything is coming from within us. And this week, for some reason, well, it all has to do with our theme, and as I think about what we're doing, but the 12 powers are very much on my mind, and each of you has a power that grabbed you at Christmas and decided we're walking together and we're going to have a journey about that particular power. I was always fascinated from the first time I heard about the 12 powers when I first got involved with Unity. I was always fascinated by them. And I hope you are fascinated by them too. Because they really are a fabulous toolkit for life and for creating mastery, cultivating mastery. And they are the seat of stepping into and fully embracing as much as we can throughout our physical existence this Christ presence that we are. The Christ presence that we are, that magnificence at work, that divine intelligence, that divine wisdom at work. Those 12 powers cover every single thing that you might need to handle life. It gives you something to do and be to become more masterful at life. So we should never have a day where we feel like we can't handle it. We don't have the right stuff. Or we don't have enough power or strength or wisdom, or we don't know. And so we should be able to step each day into life with that deep conviction that we just affirmed. That deep conviction about who and what we are and what life can be if we so choose it to be. That you can live one way yesterday and tomorrow can be far different than yesterday or today. Simply by you thinking it into existence and you deciding that you are going to show up differently. And not differently as in you're going to go get something that you didn't have before, but that you were going to harness what is already there. Harness what's already there. All these seeds, those 12 powers are really seeds. And like we've discussed before, we're already using them. We're just using them unconsciously. And we're using them in a different form than the highly elevated form that Christ exemplified for us, that Jesus the Christ, exemplified for us. So whatever you encounter, you should automatically think, I got something for that. There's an app for that. There's a Christ app for that. There's a Jesus app for that. And you have it. And you have it. Yeah. It's all there. Active and waiting. It's almost like the car being ready. Ignition's on, it's sitting there, and you just got to get in it and drive. Get in it and drive. Car's waiting. And we talked about that the car's waiting. Some of us get in the car, but we sit in neutral, not going anywhere, in the driveway, looking around. Why isn't life changing? What's happening? Hoping a tow truck's coming to move you down the road. Somebody else make it different. Somebody make it better. Somebody make something happen when it's all for you. It's all for you. So put it in drive, put your foot on the gas, press the pedal, and move forward. And move forward. But it takes us having to harness that magnificence before we'll get in the car, strap on the seatbelt, and say, I'm going forward, and actually make it go forward. We have to know that we have it. We have to know that we have it, have it, have it. Everything starts from belief. Everything that needs to change starts from a belief in something. And if it's not moving, it probably means you believe it's not going to move. Or you believe you don't have the power to make it move or make it change. So we got to work on those beliefs, those intrinsic beliefs that are in our heads. Like Pete read, a lot of it's from our ancestors, our family, generational beliefs. Generational beliefs. Or what Charles Fillmore calls race beliefs. And whenever he says race beliefs, he's talking about human race. He's talking about the human race. What does the human race believe? And because we're human and we hear these things, we have these messages all the time, and they come through in our culture and in our living, then we go with that instead of going with divine wisdom, divine intelligence first. And so we have to break out of some beliefs that are no longer serving us and elevate ourselves, harness what's already within you, what is the seed of magnificence that's there waiting for you to nurture that seed and bring it forth into the world. Whatever you're waiting for is resting within you. Doesn't matter what it is. Abundance, love, peace, harmony, better health, youth, vitality. Whatever it is, better relationship, whatever it is residing within you. Think about that. We're all working on something. So whatever it is you've been grappling with, struggling with, thinking about, playing with, stepping forward a bit, dipping your toe in the water, coming back out. You know how you see the birds on the beach and they run out towards the water, and then the tide comes in, they run back from the water. Let's enjoy the ocean. They run forward. Ah! Ocean's coming. And they scamper forward and they scamper back. I always wonder why they don't just fly back. Like what? But they run forward and they run back. Got wings, got everything, but do they lift off and just, no, no. How many times do we play with what we want, but not step fully into it? How many times do we do that? I do it a lot. I'm a master at playing with stuff, dipping the toe in, say, oh, this is nice. Oh, crap, I might have to grow some more. Woo, got to think about myself a little bit differently. Might have to implement something a little bit differently. Might have to implement something, period, not differently. Sometimes the stuff is sitting right in front of us. And I think we've all heard that saying that we sacrifice the great for the good. We sacrifice what's enough. We sacrifice the magnificent for what's enough. We're sitting at a feast, but we eat the crumbs or won't pick up the fork. I think it was last week we read that if you have the dream, you have what it takes to manifest the dream. If you can dream it, you can have it. And I think I said, when I was a little girl, I dreamt of a life that I wanted to live. And nobody I knew in my family was living that kind of life. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? Other than my soul. And so I have to remind myself of that on a regular basis, that if I can dream it, I can have it. And I have what it takes to manifest it. Nobody in my world was living like that. And then I started to cultivate that. What might that look like? And so all the messages that I got, which was to just go get a good job, be a great employee, and do that for 30, 40, 50 years, and then retire and get a clock and go sit on a lawn chair somewhere, and that's what it is. And then you just live modestly, and then you die. And then you die. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have a good life like that. But for some reason, that wasn't mine. That wasn't my dream. So I did something different, and bless my parents' hearts, they just watched me. They were like, oh, God, why didn't she listen? Why didn't she listen? And I tried to listen, and I tried to walk the path that they gave me, and the path that they walked, because that's what they knew to do. And it did serve them fairly well, but I think I've said before, I don't know that they had dreams, and if they did, they didn't talk about them. They didn't talk about them. The magnificent life, the magnificence of you exists. It does exist. We just have to look at it, harness it, hold it, embrace it, and step into it a little bit more. I read something on social media that says, even baby steps move you forward. Even baby steps. Turtle beat the hare because he kept on going. He might have been slower. But the turtle made it too. You don't have to be the hare. We just got to keep moving forward. Keep going within. Try a little bit more every single day to embrace more of what you truly are. Write down an affirmation. something that resonates with your heart about your magnificence and read it every day. Read it a couple of times a day. Put it somewhere where you'll see it on a regular basis. And every time you see it, read it aloud. Say it aloud so that you can hear it, so that your brain can hear it and your body can feel that vibration going through you. And say it till you believe it. Say it like you mean it. Until you feel yourself wearing it and being it all the time. Not just throwing it on for an hour here or there, but all the time. And at some point you'll realize that you wake up in the morning and you feel differently about life and about yourself. And that something has changed. And you probably won't be able to put your finger on when it changed. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it changed. All that matters is that it changed. And it can change when you're 83. It can change when you're 38. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The magnificent life starts with us. It starts with you. When you're feeling the magnificence, you'll see the magnificence. You will experience the magnificence. Everybody that steps into your life, you will know them as magnificence, and they will experience you as magnificence. And even the most casual encounters will be special. Will be special. You walk to your mailbox to get your mail, and something will feel special about that few seconds going in and out your door. You'll feel specialness when there are storms raging outside of our homes.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you.
So as Mother Nature was ripping through here the other night, and I'm meditating within, seeing my home and my neighborhood intact and all those that I love, this center here, safe and intact through that storm, I'm marveling at how badass Mother Nature is. Oh my God. Yes. She's awesome. 80-mile-an-hour winds. The sky, my backyard, the sky went from sky blue with clouds to within 15, 20 minutes to pitch black. I mean, if you had stepped out of my yard, you would not have been able to see your hand in front of your face. It was so dark. And those rains came down and the sky lit up with lightning, and it was fierce. And I'm thinking, just blow over my house, baby. With your bad self. Blow on by. You don't need to take my roof with you. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. In the midst of the storm, we can still see and feel magnificence. And as we know, and as we talk about often, man, the storm hits. Even if it's not Mother Nature. You know, stuff happens in our lives. And just like the little boy and the father talking about him spending time in the woods and that God is everywhere, we'll be able to be in that presence through all things. Through all things, with all things. And even if the roof does blow off, all you'll say is, I got something for that. Because everything's always working out for me.
Everything's always working. Thank you.
So know your magnificence. If you don't know it, practice it. If you need to hear it, call me. If you need somebody else to give you the message, that's what spiritual family is for, to remind you when you forget who and what you are. That's what community is for. And then we walk forward together in our magnificence as a community, greater than the sum of our parts. Greater than the sum of our parts. You are greater than the sum of your parts. These bodies that we live in are magnificent creations, and they can't compare to the strength of your mind and your spiritual power. They don't compare. In fact, if we could harness the mind and the spirit, we could remake these bodies. If we truly, truly stepped into that, as Jesus stepped into his magnificence, we could regenerate ourselves physically. That is the promise. That is the promise. So know who you is. Be who you is. Know who you is. Y'all. Y'allins. Let's take this in a meditation. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And I want you to think about something you're kind of struggling with, something you don't like about you or your life. Something you've been wanting to change. Something that you know you can't change, but you're just struggling with it, frustrated by it. You want to run from it. You want to hide from it. You wish somebody could come take it away from you. I want you to think of that. Think of that thing. Maybe it's a part of your personality you don't like. Maybe you're struggling with someone in your life. I want you to see that situation, that circumstance. And in your mind and your heart, I want you to say, I've got something for that. You have no power over me. And with the power of imagination, one of those 12 powers, I want you to start seeing that circumstance, that part of you, whatever it is, differently. How can you see it differently? How can you reframe the judgment that you might have? What do you want to shift in your world? Our imaginations are limitless. How does your divine self see that circumstance? can you heal that particular part of your personality? Something happening in your family. How can you be the instrument of healing in this circumstance? Let your divine imagination take hold of that circumstance and see something else. For if you can see it and believe it, you can have it. Watch it change before your mind's eye. You and your infinite power and magnificence based in the divine wisdom, divine intelligence, the all good that is God, can change it for the good of all, the highest and best for you and all creation. Breathe it in. And with each breath, become more deeply convicted about the healing. It's all within you. Magnificent beings. You are love itself. The love that bears all things, heals all things, harmonizes all things, knows all things. That is you, beloved. That is you. You are the beloved, created in the image and likeness of God. Stardust in physical manifestation. Just breathe. Let yourself be it. Let yourself feel it. All things are impossible. All things are possible as the God goodness that you are. Let's take a deep breath together. Breathe in. Exhale. With each breath, you are more deeply convicted in your magnificence and the magnificence of the all-good. There is no difference. All that God is, you are, beloved. All that God is, you are. All that God is, you are. Hold it. Embrace it. Let it flood every cell. Let it overflow through your heart, your energetic heart. Let it blow your mind. Let it blow your mind. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.